Okay, picture this. You just merged onto the freeway. Maybe it's sunrise. Your Model 3 is just gliding. Autopilot's humming along perfectly.
Serene.
Totally serene. Everything feels great looking through that, the big glass roof. Until tick.
Ugh, that sound.
That sharp little tick of freeway debris hitting the windshield. And bam, your brain just flips.
Yep. From calm driving to instant calculation mode.
Exactly. Is that tiny chip going to spiderweb into a crack?
Yeah.
And maybe worse? What is a comprehensive deductible again? Am I about to be out like $500? Or $1,000?
That specific anxiety, that calculation, that's exactly what we're going to try and mitigate today.
Okay.
We're doing a real deep dive into the true cost of insuring a specific, very modern car in what can be a high-risk place to drive it.
Right.
So our mission today is pretty concrete. We're analyzing the actual dollar difference for a California EV owner, specifics, 2022 Model 3 rear-wheel drive, and we're comparing GEICO, Travelers, and Progressive. The only thing we're changing is that comprehensive/glass deductible, moving it from $500 down to $250, then down again to $100.
Okay, so let's really unpack this persona we built, because it's got some serious constraints baked in that, frankly, a lot of EV owners are going to recognize.
Definitely.
We're modeling someone in a dense California coastal metro area.
Yeah.
Think Bay Area, LA corridor, the kind of traffic.
Oh, yeah. Stop and go, debris.
Right. And they drive about 10,500 miles a year. Pretty standard, clean driving record. That's important. But, and this is key, the car is financed.
Meaning comp and collision aren't optional. They're required by the lender.
Exactly. You have to have them.
And the car itself, I mean, this is really the core of the financial puzzle here, isn't it?
How so?
Well, like you said, it's a Model 3. This is not your basic sedan from 10 years ago. Replacing the glass, whether it's the windshield getting chipped or even that big panoramic roof.
Right.
It almost always involves recalibrating those critical ADOS cameras, the advanced driver assistance systems.
The autopilot cameras, basically.
Precisely. And that whole repair process, it pretty much demands OEM glass original equipment manufacturer. You can't usually just slap in any old aftermarket windshield.
Okay.
And it needs specialized labor, too. So you get a serious crack, your repair bill is almost guaranteed to be north of $1,000.
Which puts that full $500 deductible, if that's what you have, straight onto your shoulders, out of pocket.
Every penny of it, which is why that deductible level is so critical for these cars.
And that's why we're digging into this. So
Yeah.
to make sure we're comparing apples to apples, right, we set up a really strict base blueprint. Same coverage levels for all three carriers.
Yep, a non-negotiable foundation. We weren't trying to find the absolute cheapest policy by stripping coverage. That's not helpful.
No.
So we locked in liability at $100, $300, $100.
Okay, can you break that down quickly? $100, $300, $100, and $1.
Sure. It's pretty standard good coverage, $100,000 for bodily injury per person you might injure, $300,000 total bodily injury per accident, and $100,000 for property damage you might cause, like to someone else's car or whatever.
Got it. And then, crucially, we matched the uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage, UMUM, at that same $100, $300 level.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely essential, especially in California, right?
Why especially there?
Well, look, the number of drivers who have either no insurance or just the absolute state minimum, it's significant. If one of them hits you and you have serious injuries or damage...
Your own policy needs to cover the gap.
Exactly. You do not want to cut corners on UMUM in California. It's just asking for trouble.
Okay, what else was in the base blueprint?
We fixed the collision deductible at $500. That felt like a reasonable middle ground. Added $5,000 in medical payments. It's not a huge amount, but it pays out fast for smaller injuries, no fault involved.
Okay.
But here's the really EV-specific requirement we insisted on. Rental reimbursement, set at $50 a day for up to 30 days.
Why so specific? $50 a day, 30 days. Seems generous.
It might seem like it, but think about that Model 3 glass repair. If it needs OEM glass and there's a wait, or it needs that specialized tech for calibration and the shop is backed up.
Ah, okay. Parts delays, labor delays.
Exactly. It's not uncommon for an EV with specialized repair needs to be sidelined for, 2 weeks, maybe even more.
Right.
So if you cheaped out and only got like $30 a day for 10 days on rental.
You'd blow through that coverage fast and be paying out of pocket for Ubers or a rental car.
You got it. That $50 for 30 days It's peace of mind against those potential EV repair backlogs. Trying to save a few bucks by cutting it is usually false economy.
Makes sense. Okay, foundation set. Let's get to the actual numbers. This is where it gets really interesting, right? Seeing how much it actually costs to lower that comp glass deductible.
Yeah, the trade-off is surprisingly gentle, as you said.
So let's walk through the approximate monthly premiums we saw for our specific Model 3 profile. And just to stress again, these are directional numbers for our persona. Your quote will vary.
Absolutely. This is illustration, not a personal guarantee.
Okay. Baseline setup, collision deductible, $500. Comp glass deductible, also $500. The balance setup.
Right.
GEICO came in lowest, around $168 a month.
Okay.
Travelers was a bit higher, roughly $179 a month.
About $11 more.
And Progressive was highest of the three, around $186 a month.
So that's like an $18 spread, top to bottom, for the exact same coverage.
Yeah. Right off the bat, a noticeable difference. Is that Progressive just pricing in more risk for EVs, you think? Or maybe they're just less competitive in that specific California market right now?
Could be a mix of both. Their internal risk models, their current market strategy.
Yeah.
It all plays a part. But let's see what happens when we tweak that comp deductible. That's the real test.
Okay, scenario 2. We keep collision at $500, but we drop the comprehensive glass deductible to $250.
Having that potential out-of-pocket for glass.
Right. So GEICO moves from $168 up to $177 a month. That's just a $9 increase.
$9, okay.
Travelers goes from $170 up to $187.
An $8 increase.
Even less. And Progressive. From $186 up to $195. Also a $9 increase.
Wow.
So wait a minute, let me get this straight. We're basically buying down our risk, capping our potential glass repair cost at $250 instead of $500.
Yep.
For an extra $8 or $9 a month. That's like one fancy coffee.
That's it. That $8 or $9 is what we could call the frictionless repair premium. You're paying a tiny bit more for a much smoother claims experience if that pebble hits.
Okay, so let's push it even further. Scenario 3. Keep collision at $500, but drop the comp glass deductible all the way down to $100.
Maximum peace of mind for that windshield.
Right. GEICO goes from the baseline, $168 up to $186. So that's an $18 total increase from the $500 deductible.
Okay, $18 more per month compared to the start.
Travelers goes from $179 up to $197. Also an $18 total increase from their $500 base.
Same jump. Okay.
And Progressive, from $186 up to $205. That's a $19 total increase on their base.
So across the board, remarkably consistent. About $18, $19 a month extra takes you from a $500 glass deductible all the way down to $100.
That feels really manageable.
Right. And that's really takeaway number 1 for you listening. The annual cost to make that jump from a potentially painful $500 out of pocket to a much more comfortable $100. It's only about $200, maybe $220 per year.
Less than $20 a month.
Exactly. To cap your exposure on a repair that we know for Model 3 with 8S is likely going to start north of $1,000.
Yeah.
That feels like an incredible financial bargain just for the peace of mind alone.
It really does. Now, in this specific scenario, GEICO still trends lowest overall, even at the $100 deductible level. But you mentioned earlier, don't just chase the lowest number.
Absolutely not. And that's takeaway number 2. Especially with EVs, the quality of the repair pathway matters hugely, maybe even more than the monthly premium sometimes.
What do you mean by repair pathway quality?
I mean, how easy is it going to be to get that OEM glass approved? Do they have a good network of shops that are actually certified and experienced with Tesla repairs and ADS calibration in your area?
If, say, Travelers cost $8 more a month, but, they have a fantastic EV repair network, and they routinely approve OEM glass without a fight.
That $8 extra might be well worth it to avoid headaches during a claim.
Totally worth it. Saving $8 a month is pointless if you spend weeks arguing with an adjuster about using the right parts or finding a qualified shop.
Right. So let's dig into the why behind these numbers a bit more. Why are the price increases so gentle when we lower the comp deductible compared to, say, lowering the collision deductible, which usually costs a lot more?
Yeah, it really comes down to frequency versus severity from the insurer's perspective.
Okay.
Comprehensive covers things like theft, vandalism, falling objects, hitting an animal, and crucially for this discussion, glass damage.
Right. The common stuff.
Exactly, especially in places like California with lots of freeway driving, maybe aggregate trucks, grit on the road. The frequency of small glass chip claims is just inherently higher.
More likely to happen than a big collision.
Generally, yes. Insurers expect these smaller, more frequent comp claims. They can model that risk very accurately. It's typically lower severity. A $1,200 windshield replacement is bad, but it's not like a $20,000 collision repair.
Gotcha.
So when you lower your comp deductible, they know claims might increase slightly in number, but the average payout doesn't jump astronomically. Lowering your collision deductible, however,
That impacts potentially much larger claims.
much larger, much less frequent, but potentially catastrophic costs for the insurer. So they charge a lot more premium to lower that collision deductible. The math is just harsher on collision changes.
Okay, that makes sense. Frequency versus severity. And the Model 3's specific tech reinforces this for comp, right? The parts and calibration.
Hugely. It's not just a piece of glass. It's the gateway for your car's eyes, those ADS cameras.
Right.
So the carriers who really understand EVs, the ones who treat OEM glass and the mandatory recalibration as just routine, part of the expected process for these cars.
Not some weird exception they need to argue about.
Exactly. Those carriers tend to price the comp coverage more realistically, including the cost of lowering the deductible. They've already baked in the higher baseline cost of a proper EV glass repair.
Are there other factors that significantly move the price beyond just the deductibles in the car itself?
Oh, absolutely. Your specific ZIP code and, importantly, your garaging situation. That's a big one for comprehensive risk.
How so?
Well, if you're parking curbside overnight in a dense urban area, the risk of vandalism, break-ins, even just accidental damage is higher than if the car is tucked away in a locked garage.
So tell the truth on the application about where you park it.
Always. Don't say you have a garage if you park on the street. They have ways of checking now, and it can impact a claim later if you weren't upfront. Declare reality, not, aspiration.
Good tip. What else?
Bundling. This is often the easiest win.
Homeowners or renters insurance with your auto.
Yep. That multi-policy discount can be substantial. Sometimes it can completely erase that $10 or $18 price difference we saw between, say, GEICO and Progressive in our example.
So always get the bundled quote alongside the standalone auto quote.
Always. Never skip checking the bundle. It's often free money, effectively.
Okay. What about things like telematics or driving trackers?
Yeah, those can be real money savers too if you're a generally smooth and safe driver, since EVs often track driving behavior anyway.
Might as well get a discount for it if you drive well.
Exactly. And anti-theft discounts too, though Teslas generally have good built-in systems. Worth checking what discounts apply.
Okay, so bringing it back to the practical decision for the listener, we've seen the numbers, the trade-off seems pretty good. How do you actually decide which deductible is right for you?
It boils down to one core question you need to ask yourself, honestly.
Okay.
Just imagine, if your Model 3 windshield gets a nasty crack next week, and it definitely needs OEM glass and that ADS recalibration, what's the maximum cash amount you'd feel comfortable paying out of pocket right then and there without stressing your finances?
Okay. So it's about your personal cash flow and emergency fund comfort level.
Precisely. If your honest answer is, $500 would be a real pinch right now, but $100 or $250 I can handle without losing sleep.
Then pay the extra $8 to $19 a month for the lower deductible.
That's it. That small extra premium is basically you pre-budgeting for what we called that frictionless repair. You're buying certainty.
That framing makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned something earlier, endorsements, like a specific windshield-only option.
Yes. This is a smarter way to potentially handle it if your carrier offers it.
How does that work?
Instead of lowering your entire comprehensive deductible, which covers glass, theft, vandalism, hail, etc., some insurers offer an endorsement. It might be called a zero-deductible glass option or a low-deductible windshield rider or something similar.
Okay.
This endorsement specifically lowers or eliminates the deductible only for glass damage, often just the windshield.
So you keep your main comp deductible at maybe $500 for things like theft, but pay a bit extra just to cover the glass risk.
Exactly. And because it isolates the single highest frequency risk, glass chips cracks, this endorsement is often cheaper than lowering the entire comp deductible across the board.
So definitely ask about specific glass endorsements when getting quotes.
Absolutely. It's often the most cost-effective way to manage that specific worry.
Now, probably the biggest pitfall to avoid, right? You choose your deductible, you're happy with the price.
Yeah.
What's the crucial next step before you pay?
Verify the repair pathway. You must do this before you bind the policy, meaning you need to ask the agent or check the insurer's website specifically. Which auto glass shops in my area are in your network and are certified for Tesla OEM glass replacement and ADS camera calibration?
Get specific names of shops.
Yes. Confirm they actually have a clear established process for handling these complex, high-cost EV glass repairs. Don't accept vague answers like, oh, we'll figure it out if it happens.
Because if they don't have a good pathway.
Then you might end up in claim hell later, fighting them to approve the OEM glass, argue about using a qualified shop, waiting weeks while they try to source parts through some low-bid network. It's incredibly stressful.
Time is money, especially when your main transport is sidelined.
You got it. Confirm the pathway before you commit. It's probably the single most important piece of due diligence for an EV owner buying insurance.
Okay, super important. Before we wrap up, let's just quickly reiterate what coverages people should not cut just to try and save a few bucks, especially trying to match that lowest baseline quote.
Right. There are 3 non-negotiables in my book, particularly for this California EV driver profile. Number 1, UMUI parity.
The uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage.
Keep it matched to your main liability limits. If you have 100-300 liability, get 100-300 UMUIM. Don't drop it to the state minimum just to save $10 a month. The risk of being hit by an underinsured driver in CA is too high. Protect yourself.
Okay, don't skimp on UMUIM. What's number 2?
Rental reimbursement. Keep that robust 50-day for 30 days, especially for an EV.
Because of potential parts and labor delays.
Exactly. Cutting this to save maybe $5 a month could cost you hundreds in ride shares or rental fees if your car is stuck waiting for a specialized part or repair slot. Penny wise, pound foolish.
Makes sense. And number 3.
Collision deductible sanity. We used $500 as our baseline, which is a pretty balanced midpoint. Resist the urge to jump that collision deductible up to $1,000 or $1,500 just to get a lower premium, unless you genuinely have that amount sitting comfortably in an emergency fund, ready to go after a stressful accident.
You don't want financial shock on top of the accident shock.
Precisely. A $500 deductible is manageable for most people after a collision. $1,000 plus can be a real hardship right when you least need it.
Good advice. So this really highlights how the cheapest policy isn't always the best, especially when you factor in the service and repair realities.
Totally. And that brings us to the nuances between the carriers we looked at, based on our data and general reputation.
Yeah, let's touch on that. GEICO came out cheapest here.
Right. GEICO is often very aggressively priced, especially for drivers with clean records, including EV owners. They could be great for what you might call the glide path owner.
Meaning?
Someone who wants solid value, low hassle, assumes things will generally go smoothly. However, the caveat is you absolutely must verify that OEM glass pre-authorization process in your specific area. Sometimes reports suggest it can take a bit longer with them in busy metro zones.
Okay, so good price, but do your homework on the glass claim process beforehand. What about travelers? They were mid-pack on price.
Travelers often get high marks for their claims experience and their established networks, particularly with higher-end vehicles and complex repairs. They might be the better fit for the claims confidence owner.
Someone who prioritizes a smooth repair process above all else.
Exactly. If they know Travelers has excellent EV-certified shops nearby and handles OEM parts well, they might happily pay that extra $5-8 a month for the confidence that a claim will be handled right, especially if Travelers offers a good windshield endorsement option.
Gotcha. And Progressive, they were highest in our initial run.
Progressive's strength is often in their customization options and their bundling power. They give you a lot of levers to pull on the policy menu.
So good for the customizer.
Yeah, someone who wants to fine-tune every deductible and coverage, maybe leverage telematics heavily, or knows they'll get a huge discount from bundling home renters. If those factors close that initial price gap, Progressive offers a lot of control.
Okay, that's helpful context. And remind us quickly, the best order to apply discounts when getting quotes.
Right, the choreography matters. Start with the biggest potential win, bundle home or renters first. Get that quote.
Okay.
Then layer on the easy stuff, eDocs, autopay, painful discount. They're small, but they stack. Third, investigate telematics or other usage-based insurance options, but only if you're confident in your smooth driving habits. Weigh any potential trade-offs, like tracking nighttime driving. And finally, always be accurate with your mileage. Don't just guess or accept the default. If you drive 10,500 miles like our persona, don't let them quote you at 12,000 or 15,000. That difference matters.
Excellent. So the action step for you, the listener, seems pretty clear now.
Yeah, take the blueprint. We outline the liability limits, UMUIM, rental, collision deductible.
Right. Use that as your baseline. Then go get live quotes from at least these 3 carriers, GEICO, Travelers, Progressive.
And specifically test that comprehensive glass deductible trade-off in one sitting. Ask for the price at $500, then $250, then $100, And ask about any specific glass endorsements, too.
See what the real dollar cost is for your profile in your location to buy down that risk and get that frictionless repair premium we talked about.
Exactly. And maybe a final thought here.
Please.
Insurance, especially car insurance today, it's really not a set it and forget it kind of thing anymore. It's more like optimize it and then you can breathe easier.
Good way to put it.
The biggest mistake people make, I think, is choosing that deductible based on some abstract idea of saving money rather than realistically assessing their own cash comfort level for when that stressful event like a cracked windshield needing a pricey repair actually happens.
Choose based on realistic cash comfort, not just the lowest premium.
Right. And one more thing. The carrier that's cheapest for you today might not be the cheapest in 6 months or a year. Rates change constantly.
So reshop periodically.
Absolutely. Put a reminder on your calendar a month before your policy renews. Run the numbers again. It takes maybe an hour, and it can save you hundreds. Optimize and breathe easier. That's the goal.